ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्।
Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another beautiful Satsang. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time to joining this virtual Satsang. Thank you for inviting Maya and me into your homes. Together, we build a divine vibration and send it out into the space, into the universe, if you will. So it continues to bless mankind with abundance, health, wealth, peace, and prosperity. As always, let's begin with a Ganesha bhajan, invoking the divine energy, powerful energy of Ganesha. It opens the Muladhara chakra, clears the passages, creates an environment where the mind doesn't get disturbed. So we begin to focus, learn, and invoke the highest energies of the universe.
गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः। भजो रे मानस विघ्नहरं भजो रे विघ्नेश्वरं भजो रे मानस विघ्नहरं भजो रे ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 विघ्नेश्वरं भजो रे मानस विघ्नहरं भजो रे 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 ॐ सद्गुरुवे नमः ॐ गणपतये 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 नमः विघ्नेश्वरं भजो रे मानस विघ्नहरं भजो रे 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 ॐ गणपतये नमः 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 विघ्नेश्वरं भजो रे मानस विघ्नहरं भजो रे 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 ॐ गं गणपतये नमः 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 ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
Namaste and welcome once again for those of you who have just joined. We are in the process of beginning to understand this most fundamental energy of the universe in the form of a teacher, a divine teacher. Not an abstract element or an abstract energy, but an instructing being, a being that gives us instructions, a being that can bless us with wisdom, a being that we can relate to, a form that we can relate to, a teacher that we can relate to, our dream guru, if you will, the one and only, the perfect divine element of Shri Dakshinamoorthy. So we were studying in the last class before the FAQs and the Saturday Hanuman Chalisa. Last Thursday that was, I believe. We were studying the various aspects of Dakshinamurthy and understanding how this divine principle that we are trying to get our minds around, if you will, is in fact an eightfold manifestation. So we touched upon this, and I'll kind of quickly go through this. We had the 5 elements, the sun, moon, and consciousness. So this is, and we studied most of this. We have a couple of more elements left, so that's where I'm getting to. And from here we went on to the next one. The sun on the right side, the moon on the left side. So he was a symbiosis. If he was a meeting point of both these energies, he was the union of unity in duality, if you will. He represented the oneness. So this was the sun on his right side was the Shiva energy, the Purusha energy. The left side was moon or the Ida Nadi or the moon energy, the Shakti principles, the Prakriti. Now the right and the left has real implications in yoga sadhana, in yoga practice. If you are not into yoga practice, then this is merely a theory, which you may wonder what is the implication of this. But there is so much implications rather, on which side of the body is active at any given point of time. There's always one nostril that's a little more active than the other. And that means that there is a Shiva side active in you or the Shakti side active in you. So there is a whole practice that is based around the yogic lifestyle. So we begin to introduce this concept in the yoga classes just before the class to understand if the right nostril is more active, then you can push yourself because it's a sun energy. He's extrovert. He's ready to go out, and you can push the body. It's more muscles and bones, if you will. But if it is the moon side that's active, then you take it easy. Take it a little more slower. Be aware that today my body is not ready to push itself. So you can't come with an agenda to the mat unless you are in tune with the nostril, which nostril is active. That is why these big things, actually these elements, these understanding or concepts are not just abstract concepts that they throw just for you to imagine and believe in some sense, but these are all actually practices, ideas that could be practiced every day. And therefore you will begin to realize that this sun and the moon is in me, this Shiva and Shakti are in me, and how they are active. So that is why these concepts come in handy when you are in the spiritual path as a sadhaka, as a spiritual aspirant. And that is the approach of all these satsangs, not only to make you intellectually aware, but also to see how we can implement it in our practice. And then we went to the next one. We went to the earrings. Again, that solidifies this whole concept, if you will. The Makara Kundala, the right side earring, was different from the left earring, which was Tataka. So we studied that as well. And then we went to the space element. The space element, so in each of his hands, he represented a symbol. So he has space, that is drum, and the snake. The snake represents time, and the damaru represents space. So time and space he holds in one hand, in his upper right hand. Okay, so because the damaru represents drum. And then on the chin mudra, in the lower right hand, he held the mudra with his fingers, indicating control of the Vayu element. And through the Vayu element, he brings in the idea of union with the divine. The jiva is uniting with the divine. So as we spoke about the chin mudra, we spoke about japas as well. So I am going to revisit this concept of japa when we come back to a sloka per se. But just since we are on that, I just want to touch upon, if you are using a japamala as well, this chin mudra, we talked about chin mudra as a practice, right? But what happens when you're doing japa? So do you do this like this? Do you do japa like this? None of these are wrong, okay? This is just practices which have inner meaning that I'm going to share with you, traditional practices. And the way Baba taught us, very simple as that. So how do we do japa and yet keep this jiva and Paramatma principle? How do I keep this together and keep the gunas away when I'm doing japa? Because japa and meditation are they go hand in hand. So you place the japmala, if you are using a japmala. This is one of the japmala. This is made of lotus beads. It belongs to Maya. So with the permission, I got this. So, okay. So what do? You place the japmala over these three fingers, like this. Okay. So over the gunas. You're already taking the gunas out. And then how are you going to move this? You're going to hold the forefinger and with the thumb, you're going to move each bead. So let's say I do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So you see the gunas are already separated, right? And I'm going Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. I come to, this is 54 beads. So I come to the Guru bead. So if I'm closing my eyes and I'm immersed in the mantra chanting, I come to the bead, it gently reminds me I've completed one cycle. So I could stop here, right? If I don't want to stop and I want to continue, then the traditional, this is again traditional practice, that's all. You don't cross over the Guru bead like this. It's called the Guru bead, the teacher bead. Don't ask me why, I don't know, honestly. But I like it. I stuck to the same concept, Guru bead. So when you come to the Guru bead, you stop and then you don't cross over, because that means you're just, sometimes you get so distracted, you don't know, this is just going on and on and on, and the Guru bead has come and gone, then you don't know how many rounds, how many cycles you've forgotten, right? So I guess in order for that, they brought this. So the moment you come to the Guru bead, what you do is, instead of crossing over the Guru bead and going and keep plowing ahead, you turn the mala around. So from here, I'm going to turn it around and then go backwards again. So you see this, if you keep an eye on the red, this thing, it was behind my palms, right? It was coming up like this. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it around. And then I'll proceed backwards. So now the red is coming behind on this side, right? So this is how a japa is traditionally done. So you could keep your hand like this, or like I said, there is a yoga dandam on which you can rest your hand. So your hand is rested well, your shoulders are relaxed, and the other hand is in chin mudra, and you can continue the mantra, japa of the mantra. So this is how the japa is done. So there are Dakshinamurthis that have japamala in. He also has a japamala along with chin mudra. That's why I wanted to touch upon it. But we will come back to this when there is a sloka describing him again, and I promised you all a short video. I didn't get a time to do that, but I'll also present a video a little more clearer on how a hand is placed and how we could have various options available for those of you who want to practice this japa yoga and mantra sadhana as well. So that was the magic and the beauty of chin mudra. Because a mudra controls the vayu, the fingers represent vayu element, because that sense of touch and skin represents vayu. He controls the vayu from this mudra. Okay, so that was the meaning of that lower right hand. And then we went to the next one, which is the upper left hand, the fire element. The fire element signifies annihilation. Annihilation. I'll never get that. Don't worry. Annihilation or destruction or dissolution. So, dissolution of the universe. One is creation, one is dissolution. One is creation, one is annihilation. And in between is preservation. So, we spoke about that. And then we went to the lower left hand, which has got the wisdom. He holds the wisdom in his lower left hand, which is prajna, or consciousness. In fact, the entire teachings of Vedas is contained in that lower left hand. That is why you have the palm leaf manuscripts as a symbol to explain wisdom. It doesn't explain bookish learning, it's a symbol for Vedic knowledge. And it's a symbol for wisdom or prajna, consciousness. He holds that consciousness. In other words, the essence of all Veda is what? Prajnanam Brahma, one of the Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman, this ultimate reality, Brahman, is pure consciousness. That is the essence of all the learning that he holds in his lower left hand. So I think we had stopped here, and then we have some more. And oh yes, we completed this water as well. Water is hidden in this beautiful in his beautiful braids, if you will, that he has. Ganges is in his hair. So he had various kinds of hairstyles for Shiva. You have Jata Bhara, which is what we discussed, which is flowing in nature. So the hair itself is like flowing water. We talked about that. Now we talked about space and all. Now we come to the earth. So in the earth element, we are talking of the pose called Veerasana. Where is the earth element? He's not holding the earth element as such, but he's demonstrating that the earth element is there in his asana itself. Why asana? Because asana, the word asan, means to be seated. Where do you sit? You sit on the earth. He sits on a rock, actually. That's his simhasana, or that's his throne. So he sits on the rock. A rock is symbol of the earth. While people think the rock symbolizes earth, and that does too as well. The banyan tree symbolizes earth as well. To me, the asana, as a practitioner in yoga, I see the asana, his pose, the Veerasana that he has chosen, symbolizing the earth element. Because the asana itself means seated, settled. So the final thing in creation, from space came air, from air to fire, fire to water, and finally water solidifies, liquid solidifies into matter. And so matter settles down. So asana, he's seated in that asana. So asana signifies the earth element. Okay? Now what kind of asana is he sitting in? He's seated in Veerasana. As you can see that on the screen, Veera means warrior. See, this concept of warrior means one who's, always remember, warrior symbol, it doesn't signify violence and war and all of that. Warrior symbolizes a man in action, or a woman in action, a person in action, let's say. So action, warrior signifies action, not renunciation. That's why they use the word warrior For Hanuman, it is Hanumat Balabira, the mighty warrior Hanuman. So Hanuman is meditated as a warrior. Here Dakshinamurthy is seated in what? He's seated in Veerasana. Veerasana is a warrior pose. Pose that is meant for men of action. So if you want to be a man of action, and I say man just in general to mean women and men as well. So why not just use woman then? Okay, so let's use that. So if you want to be a woman of action, then you sit in Veerasana, you need Veera, you need the warrior-like quality, you need strength, you need mental strength, you need self-confidence, you need vigor, vitality, leadership in you, and all that to step out into the world and express whoever you are, right? Whatever you believe you are, you want to express, be yourself, as we say. So how do you express yourself with confidence? Veerasana. Veerasana is a great asana to practice even normally, and there are many versions of Veerasana in Hatha Yoga. I have not started teaching that because it's all balancing exercises, which is quite complicated. But seated like this is also a beautiful aspect of Veerasana. Can we go back to that slide? Thank you. So here, what is it? The left leg, the left foot is placed on the right knee, and the right foot is down. So we'll come to that right foot per se down. But the fact that left is raised and kept, that means his left thigh is clear there. This is in later on at some point when we study the concept of Shiva and Shakti, and when we study the how Shakti then finally merges into Shiva, how will the artist portray that? How will you and I in our visualization imagine that is Devi or Shakti comes and sits on his left lap. He has kept that for her. And she sits the other way around. She puts her left leg down and her right knee is folded. So that way she will be able to sit on his lap and look straight into him. So she is fixed, her eyes fixed upon him, ready to merge into him. So that Shakti as the final Purusha and Prakriti, they were like that. And then it became creation. And now it's time for them to go back together. That's the idea. Our Shakti is now in Mooladhara and Shiva is in Sahasrara. We bring them together. Sita is in Lanka. Rama is up here. So we are joining. So that's the beauty of this, right? There's a lot more meaning in that. We will explore it again and again as we come across it in many learnings as we go along. But this is called Veerasana. So that is the posture. Now, this right foot down, where is it landing? So let's explore that. It's a very important. In fact, I couldn't complete that picture there. His right foot is resting. If you can see that, it's resting on a demon. I don't know if you can. You can probably. I can zoom in here just for this particular sake. This particular meaning I want to explain. If you can. All right. So I don't think we can see it, but his right foot here sits on a demon. I'll try and see if we can get that later, a little more clearer. But never mind. So he's resting on a demon. So you can see in this picture, yeah, that's nice. In this picture, you see a demon there. All right. So let's go back to that slide if you can, if it's not gone off. Okay, excellent. So that slide, if you see the meaning there, who is this demon? Again, now we are talking of this great concept, this universal concept. Suddenly, where does this demonization came? Where does this demon come, right? It sounds suddenly like an anticlimax to this divine concept, conceptual framework of universal wisdom, if you will. Suddenly, a demon comes here. So here again, that is the demon. There is also a quality. What is that quality? As you see there, it's a demon of forgetfulness. Apasmara Purusha. The Purusha who has forgotten, you and I are that demon. Why? Because we have forgotten. What have we forgotten? We have forgotten our real nature. Our real nature is that Guru. This Guru that we just spoke about, with all the elements in him, all the elements originating from him being the very embodiment of that consciousness and all of that. That is our true self. And we have forgotten that. So when we invoke this Guru, this divine energy principle, this divine, the higher awakened I, if you will, then this Guru comes and first thing he does, he presses this forgetfulness down so we begin to remember. Because he has kept forgetfulness under his foot, under his right foot, he has kept, so you will not forget. As long as we meditate upon Dakshinamurthy, we will begin to remember and we'll never ever forget what our true nature is. Once Dakshinamurthy comes into our consciousness, whether you asked for him or not, the fact that you and I are sitting at the satsang and listening to this name means he has now come into our consciousness. It is time for us to remember, to begin remembering. This is a grace. The fact that you and I are thinking of Dakshinamurthy and this concept and awakening to the higher self itself, Baba would say, is millions of lives that we have worked towards this. Okay, so this is the time to awaken. Prabho the Samaye, as the poet will sing that sloka, is very beautiful. This is the Guru I meditate upon. So this was the demon, the Apasmara Purusha. So what I want to do today, this satsang will be a little shorter than normal. But at this point, I don't want to start something new because I wanted to finish what I had done. I want to share with you what my Guru, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, said about Shri Dakshinamoorthy. I think I did mention about this a couple of days ago, a few days ago, about Baba who spoke in his discourse about Shri Dakshinamoorthy, Lord Dakshinamurthy, in the Atirudra Mahayagna in 2006. And what does he say? Right? For us, his words are like the words of the highest Guru. So let us listen to what he had to say about Lord Dakshinamurthy. But it's very beautiful, very powerful, very meditative. So what I would like to do is, I would like to sing Brahmanandam before. Then I would read out, the slide will come with excerpts from that discourse, not the entire discourse, but there were excerpts of that discourse. He sang some of this, what I'm going to read, he sang some of that as a Telugu poem, and some of that he spoke as well. And so I'm going to read those excerpts. It will take about 3 minutes or so. Very beautiful, very powerful. And then we'll straight away go into the invocation. So let this whole session, beginning from Brahmanandam, be one of deep meditation, contemplation of this divine teacher that we are invoking every day into our satsang.
ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वम् अस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलम् अचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि
Atirudra Mahayagna. That was from August 9th to 20th, 2006. This was a discourse, excerpts from a discourse given on August 11th, the third day of the Yagna, held and done in the presence, the divine presence of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. This is what he had to say. How can anyone describe the glory of Dakshinamurthy? His nature defies all descriptions. He is silence personified. His silence itself teaches all wisdom to the seekers. From that silence emanate Sujnana, discriminatory knowledge, Vijnana, higher wisdom, and Prajnana, constant, integrated awareness. He is resplendent with divine wisdom. He always has a sweet smile dancing on his face. It is not possible to describe the nature of Dakshinamurthy. He is Nirgunam, Niranjanam, Sanatanam, Niketanam, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Nirmala Swarupinam. In other words, he is attributeless, pure, final abode, eternal, unsullied, enlightened, free, an embodiment of sacredness. No one can achieve even a small task without invoking the blessings of Shri Dakshinamoorthy. It is only by his divine will everything is possible. All divine forms have emerged from Dakshinamurthy. He is a youth, and yet all divine powers are immanent in him. Where can you find such an omnipresent, ever youthful Dakshinamurthy? He permeates the entire universe. Lord Dakshinamurthy is present in our eyes that see, ears that hear, and nose that breathes air. All the words that we speak belong to him. In fact, he is the prime mover of all our activities during the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Hence, we must lead our lives with constant awareness about the nature of Lord Dakshinamurthy. Divinity is all-pervading. There is no place in this universe which is not permeated by God. There is no object in this world which is not divine. Every object, every individual, nay, even the insects and bacteria are embodiments of Lord Dakshinamurthy. It is the one divine principle that manifests itself in different forms. The Dakshinamurthy principle permeates all beings. He is Chaitanya Swarupa, embodiment of consciousness. Wherever consciousness is, there is Dakshinamurthy. The Dakshinamurthy consciousness is present in all human beings. But man is unable to realize this divine consciousness due to attachment to the physical body. The effect of the body, mind, intellect, chitta, ahankara complex covers the Dakshinamurthy principle. Added to this, there are the Arishad Vargas, the 6 enemies, such as desire, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and jealousy, which come in the way of realization of the divine principle. These are like the dark clouds that cover the resplendent sun. We think the sun is not visible, but once the dark clouds clear after some time, the sun appears with all effulgence. Similarly, when you are able to remove the clouds of ajnana, ignorance, ahankara, ego, and the arishad vargas, the 6 enemies,
you will be able to realize Dakshinamurthy as the self-effulgent divine consciousness present in you. Sri Satya Sai Baba. Excerpts from Divine Discourse, August 11th, 2006. Om Bhuh Purusham Shri Dakshinamoorthy Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Bhuvah Purusham Shri Dakshinamoorthy Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Suvah Purusham Shri Dakshinamurti Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Purusham Shri Dakshinamurti Rupaya Shri Samba Sadashivam Avahayami. Shri Guru, Paramaguru, Parameshti Guru, Paratpara Guru, Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru, Paramaguru, Parameshti Guru, Paratpara Guru, Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru, Paramaguru, Parameshti Guru, Paratpara Guru, Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru, Paramaguru, Parameshti Guru, Paratpara Guru, Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru, Paramaguru, Parameshti Guru, Paratpara Guru, Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Mahyam Medham Prajnam prayachha swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Shri Guru Paramaguru Parameshti Guru Paratpara Guru Mahaguru Swarupaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye. Makhyam Medham Prajnam Prayachha Swaha. Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Om Sadguruve Namaha. Om Sadguruve Namaha.
Sadguruve Namaha. Om 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 Sadguruve Namaha. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Om Sadguruve Namaha. 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 Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Shiva Shiva Shambho. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Partipurishwara Palaya Mam. Partipurishwara Palaya Mam. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Om Sadguruve Namaha. 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 Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Shiva Shiva Shambho Kailasapate. Partipurishwara Palaya Mam. Partipurishwara Palaya Mam. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Jaya Gurudeva Prabhu Sai Deva. Devadi Deva Pranamamyaham. Devadi देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्। ॐ सद्गुरुवे नमः। 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 समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। ओम शांति।